Hello, and welcome to the first State of the SEL that is designated solely for Valorant. I'm Mr. Bepic, the host of the State of the SEL and Director of Content in the Southeastern Esports League, and today I'm excited to announce that I'm making a video for the State of the SEL that is just Valorant. It's always kind of been stuck at the end of the Rocket League socials, and so I had to give Valorant some love to itself, I felt like, this semester. So without further ado, here's the first Valorant edition of the State of the SEL. Now, in this State of the SEL for Valorant, I'm going to be talking about the series that played last week, just to get you up to date on how the Swiss bracket looks right now. And to do that, I'm going to go through all 9 best of 3s that played last Thursday and last week, and talk about whether or not the result was expected or unexpected, in my opinion. So, first off, I'm going to get the easy ones, I feel like, out of the way, and start with Georgia Tech versus ECU. This was a sweep for the Georgia Tech Swarm, and that is very much expected. They're one of the top seeds in this semester of SEL Valorant, and they're starting off 2-0, I think, to no one's surprise. And Florida Orange, hot off of a top 6 finish in the fall split, doing the same thing. They 2-0'd Louisiana Tech, who is up there in terms of their initial seeding coming into this semester, but Florida Orange were definitely the favorites there and looked the part with their 2-0 sweep. And next up, our first unexpected result of this State of the SEL, where Oklahoma 2-1'd Bruton Parker last week, which is probably the biggest upset of SEL Valorant, as this is the only series that went to map 3, and it was a heater. 17-15 final on map 1 for Oklahoma, and then Bruton Parker responds with a dominant map 2, and then the Sooners win map 3 13-5 to take the upset and move to 2-0 this semester. So Oklahoma looking pretty scary right now. And then on stream, we had a 2-0 where Mississippi State swept Georgia Red, which I'm going to kind of bend the rules of my game a little bit here and say this was unexpected, but not because of the result. I think Mississippi State was the favorite in this series, but they did it in such dominant fashion. I think that is the unexpected part. Like, this on paper should have been a super close match. Both of these teams were seeded within 5 places of each other coming into this semester, and Mississippi State dominated. So they're 2-0 now as well, joining Oklahoma, Florida Orange, and Georgia Tech that we've talked about so far. They're at the top of the Swiss, and they are poised to make a run potentially right into playoffs. Then moving on to Auburn versus South Carolina Garnets. South Carolina Garnet being the lowest seed coming into the semester of SEL Valorant. They were swept by the Tigers, so we've got another expected result, as Auburn should be winning that one. And then Florida Gulf Coast versus the Full Sail Armada, same deal, expected. Florida Gulf Coast sweeps Full Sail. And on the lower side of Swiss, 2 0-1 teams, Louisiana Tech Blue versus UNC Charlotte, and this is an unexpected result. Louisiana Tech 2-0'd the Niners, who were number 3 coming into this semester of SEL Valorant. They were the runners-up in the fall semester, and now they're starting 0-2. Which is also an unexpected result so far. They're going to have to make a deep run in Swiss to get back to the top 16 if they want a chance in the last chance qualifier to make it to playoffs, because right now the Niners are in a bad spot. But a team that lost last week that is no longer really in a bad spot. UTSA are fall split winners. They had a forfeit loss in week 1, so they moved into week 2 0-1, but they handled business against Oklahoma Academy, a 2-0 there, so they're back to 1-1 in the Swiss stage. And Florida Blue, similar deal. Lost week 1, they rebound against TCU 2-0, and those 2 results definitely expected. We only had a couple of unexpected results, I feel. As I said in my last State of the SEL that this was going to be a week of recalibration. A lot of sweeps, a lot of the Swiss bracket kind of figuring itself out. But next week should be a lot closer, as now the seeding is getting a lot closer together, and it's going to lead to a lot more map 3s, I feel, and exciting results. And following that game of expected versus unexpected, so the video's not super short. I do want to go down the standings list right now in SEL Valorant and just congratulate the teams that are starting off 2-0. Like, that is difficult to do, as this is a pretty competitive array of teams in the SEL Valorant spring semester. But Florida Orange, Georgia Tech, Mississippi State, Auburn, Oklahoma, UGA Black, and Clemson's Orange team have all navigated the Swiss bracket very well, with Florida Orange and Georgia Tech not having dropped a map yet. So going into round 3, those are absolutely the teams to beat at the moment, especially Florida Orange and Georgia Tech, who are favorites coming into this semester, but they have proven that with some dominant positionings on the top of the standings table. And then in the middle of the pack, I'm not going to go all the way through the standings. You can kind of see it for yourself if you go to the League OS page. I'm sure Eli, our wonderful video editor, is putting the standings up as I'm talking about them in this video. But over on the 1-1 side, there are some terrifying teams, with Bruton Parker down there, UTSA down there, Florida Blue is 1-1 as well. Like, these are really good rosters that are sitting in the middle of the Swiss. Like, that is the most competitive area of the Swiss stage right now. Those teams that started 2-0 have it real easy at the moment. So I am jealous of them, and I fear for all the teams sitting in the middle of Swiss right now, because you've got some juggernauts to go through. And even at the bottom side, it's still pretty competitive. I mean, a bunch of 0-2 teams, UNCC, which is quite shocking, Full Sail Armada, Oklahoma Academy, TK Gray, TCU. These are teams that can absolutely make a run back up to the top of the table, especially UNCC, especially with UTK Gray and Sarah leading the charge there. Like, those teams have to start righting the wrongs soon, but I have full confidence that they're going to be able to, especially after their performances so far. UNCC have lost some close ones. Oklahoma Academy had the misfortune of playing UTSA in round 2, so I think a lot of these squads will bounce back, but they gotta do it soon. And then that does wrap up the first solo edition of State of the SEL Valorant. As, you know, it's short. We're still getting into the swing of things with this being the first full season of Valorant at the SEL. But as things heat up, I'm going to have a lot more to talk about, as round 3 of Swiss is really where the business end of the bracket starts, as teams start making that push for the last chance qualifier if they're on the lower side of Swiss right now, or just a straight bye into playoffs if they're near the top side of the bracket. So, as always, make sure you're following the SEL on all platforms: Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, all Esports SEL, and you know, you can follow me as well, BepicCasts on Twitter. But I've enjoyed making this video. Hopefully you enjoy the first Valorant solo edition. If you have any ideas or you want to make any contributions to these State of the SEL Valorant videos, I'm all ears, because I'm a Rocket League guy, and I think most people know that. I'm trying to learn more about the SEL's Valorant side as this season goes along, but I'm always open to advice and help. So I appreciate you watching the State of the SEL Valorant edition, and I'll see you in next week's.